This is Blind Man Walking 2. About 6 o'clock my time, so we'll see, and cloudy, so we'll see how this actually works out. At least for the video quality. Hopefully the audio will be strong and clear and perhaps even useful. Just want to appreciate let everybody know who's been watching. I appreciate the views. Looking for viewership and subscribership. As always, comments, questions, suggestions for video topics are also helpful. In fact, I just got my first suggestion recently. Comes from my first subscriber, from Miss Tammy's channel. I wanted to give her a thank you for this topic choice. It's something that's near and dear to my heart as well. And so for today, the topic is going to be, why are aids for persons with disability, disabled people, why are they so expensive? In particular, with reference to myself, and I don't think she would mind, to her as well, specifically those of us with visual disabilities. I love this topic. I get really energized and really juiced about it, because what I see as the problem is that, well, first of all, let's backtrack. Okay, let's look at basic economics. One reason they are so expensive is because there's an inelastic demand. Okay, what that means is, in economic terms, it means the demand is there, it's known, it's not going to go away, it can't be easily substituted. So for these products, people with visual impairments need them. Okay, so the group is small, but it's widely known what those aids are, and people who have those needs want them. So they're willing to pay, hence the term inelastic demand. Okay. The other reason that they are expensive is that they're usually paid for, maybe in a lot of cases, let's put it that way. A lot of cases, these aids are paid for by a third party. Okay, such as an insurance, federal or state agency, schools. Okay, these are typically large agencies which, are under pressure to comply with reasonable accommodation needs and so forth. So the makers of these products are aware of this, so they charge these entities, instead of the person, they charge the people who are paying for them more money because they know they can get it. So that's one. That's the other reason. It's kind of like the example, if you're paying for something on credit, it's going to take longer, therefore you end up paying more for it. And that's the other economic aspect of this, is number 3. It takes longer and longer for the payment for that item to be completed. What I mean by that is that, Joe Smo says, I need this adaptive device. They fill out paperwork, they get someone XYZ school system says, okay, we'll pay for that as far as your educational plan. And it takes like 3 months for them to get the paperwork, and then for them to get approval, and finally to pay XYZ company. Okay. Now, just imagine if Sue Consumer says, I have the money, I'll go buy it. I'll buy it right now. Okay? No waiting for the entity to get money, the company. So the consumer pays the company gets their money, and the payment process is completed in a much shorter time. So you have three primary reasons. One, you have inelastic demand for the product. It's not easily substituted. Number two, you have other people paying for it instead of the person who actually needs it. Number three, you have a long payment process for the company who produces it and who markets the product. That's why they are typically expensive. Now, what do you do about these? These items that are expensive, that you need and can't find easily. Well, if you are able and have access, a lot of times, and I don't have particular sites in mind because I'm putting this video up pretty quickly, but there are websites out there where you can look for items yourself. You can buy them yourself. Even such websites you can go directly to places that sell items. I hate to say this, for lack of another term, but items typically used for older people. Large case watches, alarm clocks, which are larger numbered. I know my own example of this is that I use an iPhone, and on my iPhone I can stretch it and look at things in bigger. I can change the fonts so the letters are larger. There's lots of accessibility features on iPhone, so that gets rid of my need for a big, bulky, large print dictionary. Okay, so that's how I've managed to. Is I use my iPhone. I use it as a dictionary, thesaurus, navigation apps. I use that to figure out how to get to places, whether I'm driving or else I'm walking. It's one of those things that with the birth of the internet, there's ways to do searches and find items that meet a person's needs who has a particular disability, and maybe they're not necessarily at a disabled person's website. I realize that's a clumsy way of phrasing it, but that's just the way it came out. I know, like I said, another example of this for me is I have trouble reading things such as prescription bottles and labels and instructions. I put together a lot of little items we need because it's cheaper than finding more expensive ones that are already made. And so I have need to read the instructions. Well, what I use is a very small handheld magnifier that, let's see, I've had for over 20 years, and it's designed to use in graphic art, designed to look at advertising copy. I don't even know if they use this anymore, but it fits flush on the paper, and it has a lens that you can twist up and down to focus, and I use it for lots of small things. That's not something that's sold for person with vision impairment, but it works for me. Okay. So those are just my thoughts on why things are expensive for disabled people, and ways to kind of look around and find things that'll work that you can maybe afford yourself and have greater access to try out, instead of looking at some catalog and not really getting a chance to know if that'll work for you. Because I know a lot of people I've talked to that are like me, that I have to try something to see if it'll work for me, and you know what it says on the instructions may not work for me. It may work for somebody else, but not me. You know, it's just like people who are able-bodied, they kind of make assumptions that everybody with a disability of a particular type is very similar, and oftentimes it's not true. In my case, my vision can go from say 2150 to 20, maybe 400, depending upon lighting. You know, so if I'm in really bright light, changing light, or if I'm moving real quickly, my vision goes to heck in a handbasket. If I'm sitting still, light conditions are good for me, and the air is clear, I see a lot better than at times which those things are not present. So I hope this gives you some insight as to at least my idea as to why things are so expensive. Products are designed for people with disabilities. My wife and I do a lot of our purchasing of general items through websites, and you know, that's kind of how we come up with a lot of our deals, I suppose. Listen, I'm going to make this video end, and I think I'll do another one really quickly right after this. But you know, give me comments, suggestions, ideas, anything anyone else wants to hear my thoughts about, let me know. And until next time, everybody, keep on walking.